Hey noble ones, welcome back to my channel. This is the Metatron speaking, and just the other day I made a video reaction to the channel Dequitem, which is an awesome channel. Of course, I'm subscribed, and he just on the 20th of December he released a new video called Peasants versus Knight, realistic non-choreographed fight. And I think this video is really good. I haven't watched it yet, but the views are staggering. And looking at this very first shot, I think this is going to be awesome, so you've got to react to it. Now, considering the fact that this is a 3 minutes 16 seconds video, I imagine my video reaction will be like, what, 6 minutes? 8 minutes? I mean, well, I don't know. You know the video duration, I don't just yet, so I'm sure you'll let me know if I was wrong in the comments. Let's go.
Oh Gott, diese Kälte. War das Feuer noch?
I absolutely love the fact the subtitles are medieval looking.
Dieses nasse Gestrüpp hier anbekomme. Vielleicht doch wieder zurückkehren. Vielleicht nimmt der Alte mich zurück. Der Wind hört auch richtig auf. Irgendwann hole ich mir
Also there is a story to it, very cool.
ein Haus mit einer Frau, 10 Kindern und einer Magd.
Wearing mail, very nice. Kettle hat. This is good.
Nicht, dass der Alte was dagegen hat. Pass auf. Der muss nur beerbt werden.
Der.
Weißt du, Bauern und Briganten haben vieles gemeinsam.
Ich hab das Pferd des Vogtes erwischt! Ich hab das Pferd des Vogtes erwischt!
Schön gut, was mit dem Vogt?
Steht euch an! Ich hab das Scheißpferd vom Vogt!
Geht er noch?
Ja, komm!
Scheiße!
Oh well, there is a crossbowman in there, so I mean, this could be dangerous. Yeah, look at the way he has to. He dropped the helmet. Well, it makes sense that he's panicking since a medieval knight in full plate is arriving, and he's pissed. I love this.
Die Waffe! Die Armbrust klemmt!
Oh, the crossbow's jammed.
Komm zusammen!
So I think it would be more probable that this guy would be wearing something between the helmet and his hair. And I'll show you some example. I mean, I'm not attacking it. Of course, you could have someone who's so poor that maybe they don't. But I do want to show you the type of headwear that they would be wearing in iconography. But for now, let's check the knight against these peasants, I guess. I mean, they're recruited, obviously, because that guy has got mail, so they're not badly. Like, when I read peasants, I thought they were going to be like actual peasants in civilian clothing. No, this is an armed company. Oh, look at the knight. Oh, he's out. Oh, he's out. Oh man, this is good. He lost the polearm. Oh. Oh man, this is good. With the dagger, yeah. Oh nice, they're going down. Oh my god, oh my gosh. Boom, boom. Go knight, go knight. This guy's wounded. Oh my, oh, yeah. That will do it. That will do it. Man, he butchered all of them. Yeah, that's what training and full plate plus expensive weapons, I guess. He had a poleaxe, he had a mace, looked like a flanged mace. He butchered all of them. This was incredible deck with them. I loved it. I loved it. So let's dissect it, shall we? Okay, so the first thing I would like to say once again, congratulations to deck with them. That was awesome. Awesome. So I would like to begin by saying that I sympathize with the knight. He's absolutely right in being pissed for the crossbow peasant unaliving his horse. I mean, you know, I do sympathize with the knight. With that being said, of course, these peasants have got a certain degree of armor, and the weapons that they are using are actually pretty good. I mean, apart from the one that is kind of looks like trying to pin someone. I mean, I'm not sure about that one when it comes to effectiveness against a full-plated armor knight, but whatever, it's fine. I mean, they use what they have, that's okay. Maybe if I was that farmer and I had, as we said, a dagger or a short sword or anything else, really, I would have tried to use that. So regardless of that, they are kitted. So these are not that easy to take out, and of course numerical superiority is an advantage, but we have to take into consideration that probably maybe they're not that experienced, that these are not veteran men-at-arms perhaps, and so I imagine they are somewhere in enemy territory. And then yeah, this guy with the crossbow he does have a breastplate. So as I say, these are kitted. Now this guy on the left appears to be wearing no armor whatsoever. So if I were the knight, probably I would try and take him out first, because that would be the easy one. The less armor they have, of course, the easier they are to take out. And at the end of the day, of all of these, they do have protection for the head, but if they can't even afford protection for the body, while you're wearing full plate armor and everything is protected by plate, then honestly, the only two that would be really kind of difficult to take out would be the guy with the mail, and mostly maybe this guy with helmet and breastplate. Maybe this guy would be a little harder, although of course he can afford a breastplate but doesn't have any mail underneath. Is a little strange from a historical standpoint, but not impossible. Sometimes we do see it, but it's very, very, very rare. And other times, even though we do see a breastplate on top of what appears to be some sort of fabric, like a coat, it's also important to underline that sometimes they have mail underneath that. So even if you see breastplate on top of fabric, it could be a situation where they are wearing mail. It's just that it's underneath the fabric component. But still, mail, if this is, clearly this is in the 15th century, I suppose, so these men are actually not sufficiently armed for a battlefield. Now, given they are not on a battlefield, so that's fine. Maybe they were just scouting the area and they just ran into this beast. Here he comes, look at him, oh my gosh, I love it. It's a scenario, it's not that it's impossible. I'm just saying if this was a battlefield, then even just wearing mail alone in the 15th century would not be considered adequate. Men-at-arms, billmen, archers, crossbowmen should be wearing at least a degree, maybe a coat of plates, a jack of plates on top of the mail. Maybe they should be wearing brigandine. As we saw, a breastplate is absolutely fine, even if you don't have any leg armor. But anyways, they do have a certain degree. As you see, this guy has got his arms protected. The weapons are excellent. He has a spear. He has some kind of pole weapon as well. And so when it comes to the weapons department, they're actually well kitted. The only thing that gives them a massive disadvantage, of course, is the degree of protection, because in reality, they have to go for the gaps in this man's armor, and he doesn't have that many. And even when it does have gaps, you still have to deal with mail. So unless you manage to get like a really well placed thrust, it's not going to go through that either. Even if you hit him with the spear, like a few times this guy did manage to hit him with the spear, but I imagine that what that represents is either it was deflected by plate, or the energy that he managed to create wasn't enough to perforate the mail section. I really liked the part where they say, oh, get the dagger, finish him with the dagger, try to, you know, because that's exactly what you should try to do. At one point, one of the guys out of desperation tries to swing his sword against the knight in plate, and that of course does nothing. It's not that you can't use a sword against a full plate knight, it's just that it's really, the odds are with him, as we could see. Once again, this is non-choreographed, so I actually love that, because there are a lot of the areas in this man's body that even if you hit him, it's not going to do anything, because as you can see, this is supposed to be like high quality plate, probably hardened steel. Yeah, he'll feel it, he'll feel the impact, but it won't hurt him. And so that's why this is such a difficult fight for these peasants. My gosh, the mace. Yeah, you see, like, he's trying here, he's desperate. Probably should have tried to half sword at this point. Maybe should have tried to half sword and see if he can luck out and manage to hurt the knight. But the problem is that even if you do that, let's say that you do manage to stab the knight in one of those areas that he only has mail, and you were very precise, you get a good hit, still, he can still attack you back. So yeah, you stabbed him somewhere, which is not going to be vital immediately, unless you manage to get him in the throat or in the eyes, but that's extremely difficult. So you may be able to wound the knight, but then he's going to hit you with a mace on the temple and you're out of it. Or even if he hits you in the ribs and he cracks a rib, you're out of combat. So in reality, yeah, the knight, even here, like you see, the spearman did manage to do a good thrust, but I can see it's just underneath, and so it's hitting the plate. And most likely that's not going to go through. So it is a fantastic fight. What if the crossbow hadn't jammed? Well, that's an interesting scenario, because still crossbow bolts, just like war bows, long bows, even if they're very high poundage, if this is a heat-treated, high quality, and this guy's some kind of nobleman, it's not going to go through the breastplate. Most likely it's not going to go through. You might puncture it a little bit, depending again on the type of steel, the thickness of the area that you hit, because of course the thickness will vary. So if the crossbowman is a really good shot, I mean, he did hit a horse, but it was a large target, so we don't know how good of a shot he is. Remember that oftentimes crossbowmen were trained in 2 to 4 weeks and then set out. It's not like if it's a longbowman who is a freaking sniper, has been training since they were very young. We don't know if this guy is a good aim, but even if he was like one of those specialized crossbowmen, like Genoese crossbowmen, people that mercenaries, that was their job, they were professionals, so they were probably training a lot. Even in that case, if he shoots him in the center of mass, which is again the most likely target to be able to hit, because he's a moving target, of course, and he's fighting, and he also has to be careful with friendly fire, right? So if that's happening and he manages to shoot hit anywhere in the back plate or breastplate in the front, not gonna go through. If he managed to place a headshot, once again, in order for the crossbow bolt to penetrate, have a chance of penetrating the helmet, probably if it's a good helmet, it would have to hit him on the sides, maybe the visor, but again, it needs to be a really good shot. So there is a certain degree of danger for the plated knight when there is a crossbowman in the mix. But then again, it's not automatic, and remember that he could, let's say that he can take 2 shots. By the time he's reloading the third, the knight might be upon him, and this guy only has a helmet. And so I think at that point, the knight is going to take care of him very quickly, even if he slices his arm open with the pole weapon, right? Then he can't operate the crossbow anymore, and he's most likely out of combat. He's not. It's basically, for the knight, it's a matter of minimizing the threat, because if they all manage to get their hands on him, and they, you know, even if they're peasants, they can be strong peasants. Maybe they're not trained like the knight, or maybe they're minimally trained. If they are militia at this point, they are recruited, becoming men at arms effectively. Still, they will be strong if they are used to work the land. So if they were all around him and managed to grab him, and they do manage to put him on the ground, and then like they all hold him down and one takes the dagger, that would really be their only chance. But then again, it's easier said than done, because we have to remember that the knight is a trained professional. He's been doing it since he was very young, as a page, then a squire, then he got knighted, and maybe if he's a veteran of combat, there is also the fear, there is also the possible lack of coordination. So they are all like they don't really know what to do. They're panicking. This guy is coming at them, one of them is already dead, the other one is being attacked, this guy panics. That is very important. That was one of the main problems with cavalry charges. So it's not, if you have a cohesive, strong unit of infantry with shields and possible polearms, spears, they can be a problem to deal with for cavalry, even during a successful charge. But the problem is that it takes a lot of training, including psychological training and experience, for men-at-arms and in general bodies of infantry to be able to stand still during a cavalry charge. And the moment someone starts panicking, and the moment they start routing or moving and losing the solidity of the block, then the cavalry is going to destroy them all. And it's easy to think, oh no, if it was me, I would just stand in place and wouldn't move. But it's not that easy when you see full plate knights during a cavalry charge raining on you, particularly if maybe you were good, you were red, you were courageous, you were brave, you were trained, but then your mates have started to move around, and if it's only you now, and the others are kind of moving around, then you're going to run with it as well and hope for your life, because if it's just you and the unit loses cohesion, the cavalry is going to decimate them. It's just going to destroy, break through them. That's why, for example, archers, longbowmen, the English, if they could find at top of a hill and then place some stakes so that they would make it hard for the cavalry charges to be effective, they would do that. That's why at Agincourt they use the weather, the climate, because cavalry charges are tremendous. And even if the mount is out of the equation, as in this scenario, the medieval knight, once again, is trained, is a professional, he's strong, he's got multiple weapons, as you could see, probably. So he lost the polearm at one point, then he has the mace. Even if he had a sword instead of the mace, anything that he has, even a dagger at that point, a rondella or misericordia, whatever it is, anything will be effective against them because they're not armored enough. And as I was saying, yeah, he can't hit them in the head. Well, with the mace, he can still try and maybe stun them. But even if he can't hit them in the head with a sword, there is still so many viable targets for him, because we have to remember that when you're fighting on a medieval battlefield or in a situation like this, an ambush, you don't have to behead the enemy. You have to make them incapable to continue the fight, and then you can finish them afterwards if you need to. But if you manage to open a major artery in the thigh, or if you manage to crack a bone, they're most likely not going to be able to continue the fight. I mean, a soldier or a peasant, whatever they are, militia, recruited militia, and you crack 2 fingers or on one hand, he's most likely going to run away. It's not like in video games where your enemies, they always fight until the death, like they're some kind of religious fanatics. It's not fanatics. They're just going to run away if they see that, you know, now their likelihood of being able to deal with you after you've taken down 3 already, because you are the trained knight, and you cracked their fingers. Now he's going to have to fight left-handed. Yeah, good luck with that. He's going to run. Or like you cracked a rib and he's having trouble breathing. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Oh, you already drew blood, and even if it's not a completely debilitating wound, you still drew blood, so they can tell you're serious. They can tell you're trying to take them out, and you're pissed as well because of the horse. So there is all of that goes into this scenario, and I really like how they, oh my gosh, when he kept going, I'm gonna see it again. Look at that. Boom. He did try to stab, so that was a good last try, but already those 4 attacks, he probably cracked his sternum, 3 ribs, and if he went for the face, which he probably didn't just out of safety, but he also went for the face of one of those, he would have just broken like 7 teeth, split the jaw apart. I mean, there is no recovery for something like that. You're out. You're out. Awesome work, Dequitem. You really make me want to do something like that. I'll have to organize one of these. It's so, I mean, I was gonna say it's so cold, but this is cold. But you're German. I'm a Mediterranean guy. Anyways, let's read his thing. So he says, like all my fights on this channel, this is a non-choreographed medieval fight. The rules in this one were simple. The knight can attack all body parts except the faces, and all techniques of historical combat were allowed. To make this possible, he used training weapons for Dominus Gladius. The first fight was won by the peasants. I think he's talking about a different fight that they did, because the knight tried to hold back, but not in the second, which is this one. If the peasants are afraid and don't charge all at once, exactly, the knight can take one after another and win the fight. I agree. The crossbow wouldn't necessarily change the game. You still need a lucky shot and hit a weak spot with only 1 bolt. I agree. And as I say, if the crossbowman is the highest threat, then as a knight, I would charge that guy. And before anyone says, yeah, but they can outrun him, well, it depends, because you can run very fast in armor. You can't run for long, but you can run very fast. And again, if this guy's been wearing armor since he was a teenager and he's trained in it, I don't know if they could outrun him. Maybe. But then again, if he's reloading and the knight charges at you, it's possible that in the panic he'll drop the crossbow in order to be able to run, or maybe he'll drop the implement, the tool that he needs to be able to draw this, because it appears to have so much poundage that you can't do it manually. And at that point, the crossbow is useless, of course. You might drop the bolts. A lot can happen. Fantastic. Let's read a few of the comments. One day I'll have a house, a wife, 10 kids, and a maid. Knight. Nuh-uh. That's really cool. Let's see. Wait, so you're telling me that armor actually protected is not for cool medieval swag? Hollywood lied to me. Yes, they did, my friend. And that's what we are trying to correct. You are not yourself when you're hungry. Henry of Skalitz. Is this from KCD? I think it is. I just shot his horse. No wonder he's pissed. He has to walk to wherever he was going now in that heavy armor. Yeah, I mean, sure. To be realistic with this though, I would rather, being someone who owns medieval armor, as you can see, I would rather wear my armor than having to carry it. So yeah, it would still be preferable to walk in the armor wherever it needed to go, as opposed to take it off, put it inside something and carry it. Much worse. Okay, I understood that knights were elite. It never occurred to me that being barely armored and going up against a completely ironclad beast of a man would look and feel like the medieval equivalent of mooks facing off Darth Vader. Yeah, I think it's a very good representation, actually, what we saw. It's not that, like, no one could ever defeat a knight as if you have numerical superiority. It is, of course, something in your favor. But yeah, it would have been extremely difficult to take on a knight as a bunch of militia, men-at-arms. With men-at-arms, though, you have to be careful because some men-at-arms are as trained as the knights, as armored as the knights, and fight in the manner of the knight. That's why I tend to use the term militia, because when I say men-at-arms, it can be confusing. I don't want to reinforce this idea that when you think of men-at-arms, you're thinking of those that have to do with, like, a Warhammer fantasy, where they're just, you know, low-class peasants with a little bit of little parts of armor randomly, with a spear and a shield, just hoping to survive with no training. No, it depends. Men-at-arms can be that, but they can also be basically as skilled and as armored. If they're successful and wealthy, they can be as skilled and armored as a knight. So it really is a case-by-case scenario with men-at-arms. I really like the intro. Me too, mate. Makes the death feel more impactful. I agree. I cannot describe how badass this is while maintaining the lackluster reality of actual unchoreographed combat. Indeed. Average Kingdom Come Deliverance encounter with bandits. Yeah, with the only difference that I don't know if they run away. Did they run away? Did they ever run away? Maybe they did, now that I think about it. But the thing that annoyed me, I love Kingdom Come Deliverance. In fact, I'm going to play it on Twitch one of these nights. I've been playing Skyrim recently. You'll find a link in the pinned comment to my Twitch. The only thing with Kingdom Come Deliverance that annoyed me was when I was like wearing full plate armor. And then I had this fist fight with this peasant, and the peasant was literally punching me in the armor and bending it to the point that I had to go repair it, which was so annoying to me. And also the fact that I was like punching him with steel fists, the peasant was punching me with regular arms, and he just kept going. It was freaking Bruce Lee. I think he even won, which I guess it has to do with RPG mechanics that I needed to level up, perhaps, but still, I'm in full plate. Come on, give me a break. That was the only thing that annoyed me, and the lack of crossbows. Those were and early firearms. Those were the only things that annoyed me with KCD. KCD was a fantastic game, and I can't wait for the second one to come out. I'll be playing it on my Twitch 100%. I'll do like 8-hour streams. This was amazing, I agree. I love how you managed to capture the true fear that seeing an armored member of the warrior elite would have inflicted. I agree. Gets his horse shot by a random peasant, tracks him on foot to his camp, doesn't even say a word, beats all the peasants like dough, leaves. What a man. Yeah, I mean, sure. I'll give it to him, yeah. Mad respect to the peasants. Those blows look like they hurt. Yeah, actually, I want to see what he says. Luckily, it's a prop. Let me see what he says. All sounds are real. I didn't use any sound effects. Oh, goodness gracious. But yes, the weapon is a prop made by Dominus Gladius from hard rubber. Very good. It can definitely hurt, but does not injure you seriously. I'm glad. We were not able to hide titanium protection under the historical clothes. Oh, yeah, because someone said, I was always, well, why would people have to say stuff they don't know? Someone did say that, so they didn't do that. I didn't use any additional protection in this one, but my friend Nicholas, the knight, tried to hit the armored spots. I see. Very cool. So of course the real knight would try to hit them in the face, try to hit them on the hands. Clearly there will be a slight difference, but they have to be careful a little bit. I mean, they're already risking by doing this, but it's fine. It's the kind of risk that you take if you do boxing, if you do martial arts, if you do full contact. Of course they had to use rubber. That's pretty good though. Those weapons looked good, the props. I have to look at this. Did he put a link? Dominus Gladius. So let's have a look at this. Yeah, that's the flanged mace. Look at this. $65 is not bad. I might get it, so we can do something, not exactly the same, but I could do something like in the forest and try. Maybe I'd do it choreographed though. I would choreograph it, but just me would like that more. But this is cool. Dominus Gladius. We need to see what else they sell. So the mace is nice. I wonder if it had been raining that day and they took the picture, but let's see what else they have. Catalog. Swords and daggers, axes and maces, polearms. Let's see swords and daggers. SPQR, I see there. Bath, okay. Yeah, I think with swords it's a bit more obvious because of the fact that, I mean, you could still use them, I guess, but it's obvious. It's more obvious. Yeah, I can't really see it. I think this is just a 3D. Oh, there we go. It looks pretty nice though. He said it's hard rubber. The cost of delivery is calculated individually. Yeah, I wonder if they give us information, but they look pretty nice. I'd probably get one of these, to be honest. Get a sword, $67, and then I'll get a mace, and we could have like sword versus mace combat. That could be fun on the channel. I'll have to organize that. So thank you, Dequitem, for I was not aware of them. So thank you very much. And I hope you enjoyed this noble ones. I wonder how long it is. Hopefully not too long. See you tomorrow for the next daily upload. And remember, the Metatron has spread his wings. Of course, link in the description, the video. Go rewatch it and give him a like, please. Thanks.